And hello and welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, thanks so much for being here today. Well, I have another terrific show for you. We have Jermaine Woodard Jr., an artist, musician, and a DMV consultant. And we'll hear all about his world in just a second. And Jermaine, thanks so much for being here. Such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you were recommended from a very talented woman that I have great respect for, and she said, "You're the man that I have to have, so I'm just so thrilled that you're here." Why don't we talk about yourself and your background? Tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Well, I am Jermaine Woodard Jr., age 28, almost 29 years old. I currently reside in Hartford, Connecticut, but I am from Portsmouth, Virginia, which is like it's the seven cities, we call it, of Hampton Roads, which is similar to the boroughs of New York City. But that is where I got my start in the performing arts sector. And I would like to think I come from humble beginnings. Started in the church and then found classical music, which through that genre of music and classical training, that's where I felt like I found my calling. And once in high school, as a senior, I graduated from the Governor's School for the Arts and IC Norcom High School, founded the Hart School of Music, Theater and Dance at the University of Hartford, and graduated there in 2016 and have been performing and working sort of blue collar, but also with the entertainment arts side of things. And I've been doing that duality, so to speak, for about 6.5 years now. So, yeah.
You know, I was reading your bio this morning, and you have a tremendous amount of background in different establishments that I have great respect for. How was it for you as a child? Did you know that you were going to be a singer?
I knew I could sing at 4. At least I think that was the age, because that's my birth date. I've always synonymized that date with the age I thought I could sing. But a professional singer, I wasn't sure about, because I had did choir. I had did church choir, but I had also did chorus in elementary school. And then there was a brief period of suspension where I wasn't singing at school. And then I found my way back in 8th grade, and that's where I saw my first operetta, which was Pirates of Penzance, Gilbert and Sullivan. And I'm ashamed to say, but in hindsight, it's kind of funny, I fell asleep during the opera. That said, though, I took choral music very serious in 8th grade and did all states, honors choir, districts. And in 9th grade, when I found Governor's School for the Arts and I did my first opera, which was Die Zauberflöte, I was the speaker in Magic Flute. And that's when I knew this might be it. And I knew I had wanted to sing because I had avoided the Hollywood aspect or the Hollywood aesthetic of competitions and singing. But once I found classical music, I felt like I found my home, my niche. And shortly after that, my sophomore year, I think it was junior year. It was either late sophomore year or junior year. Junior year, 2010 to 11. Junior year, I had my first professional gig as a chorister in Rigoletto. And that's when it all felt real. It was seeming real for about 2 years, doing operas and recitals and theater concerts at the Governor's School, but it felt more apparent when I did the first opera.
When you were in that schooling situation and then went on to college, what were your thoughts as you were getting older? What did you want to pursue then?
I think out of out of the system that I was in, I felt opera was probably the most ideal path. Even though I was singing other genres, ironically enough, I had always been a versatile singer. When you grew up in the Black church, you're pretty much exposed to every type of genre. And my dad loved neo soul, and my mom was an R&B girl, and pop was a thing growing up in the 2000s. And when I found opera, I thought, oh, this is it. And it seemed like it was only it. And then I found college at University of Hartford. And that's when I joined a cappella. I started really falling more and more in love with choral music. And I think the most surprising thing was my love for a cappella, because I had never actually done that. And that just came so naturally. So I would say college is where I found my bearings, and versatility found me. And I found confidence in that.
Once you left college, what did you end up doing? What are you doing these days that gives you joy?
Oh, my entire career gives me joy, because DMV can be a lot of energy, a lot of personalities, and I'm huge on energy. It is like my mantra to live by. Be careful of the energy that I project and emit in the world and what I take in. I love my eclectic, diversified career. And now I am part of, so many ensembles. And okay, so I might as well just be more specific. I'm part of Voices of Consinity, which is based out of Storrs, Connecticut. I am part of Voce, which is a chamber ensemble on Signum Records, which is based out of England, I believe. I am part of Concora. I'm on the roster of that group. I am on the roster of Composers Choir, which is a professional recording ensemble. Vox Futura, which is based in Boston. Handel and Haydn Society. I just got on the supplemental roster for that organization. I've worked with opera companies like Connecticut Opera, Berkshire Opera Festival, which is I'm the most proud of because I've recently done something with them. Hartford Opera Theater, which I hold dear to my heart because I actually got to do a professional gig with them in college. And in college, I was only doing collegiate opera. So Hartford Opera Theater means a lot to me. I am a section leader, most importantly, with Asylum Hill Congregational Church, which is my home church, and the Hartford Chorale, which is extremely dear to me. It's a symphonic chorus in Hartford that is often collaborating and hired isn't the word I'm looking for, but Hartford Symphony Orchestra and the Bushnell often contract Hartford Chorale, and I'm a section leader with them and on the board. And I am on the board of Consanare, which is the umbrella head of Consinity, Voices of Consinity. And also doing musicals. I am actually about to debut a role, originating a role that was constructed and composed and inspired by me, and I guess who I am, the charisma and personality I have. And that is now a regional production because it's debuting at Wall Street Theater in Norwalk, Connecticut, the 26th of this month at 2 p.m. and 7:30. And up until this point, I had only done musical theater in community settings until the pandemic in 2020. December of 2020, almost 2 years ago, next month, that was my first official contract with Playhouse on Park. And we did a cinematic recording of All Is Calm, A Christmas Truce of 1914. And, oh my gosh, I guess I record music. Technically, I've started saying recording artist, which feels good to say, because not only have I done recording in choral settings and ensemble settings, but at this point I have done soloistic pieces. So yeah, I hope I'm not forgetting anything. It's been a long journey, but I've done a lot.
It sounds as if you've done a tremendous amount. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say or what to ask now.
Thanks, Deborah.
For the individual that's listening to us now that loves you and loves what you've done and your pathway through education and your career, any advice as to how somebody could get started doing what you're doing now?
I'm going to go with Spirit on this one. And Spirit is saying voice lessons.
Okay.
Because I recognize the power of them now. I recognize the power of work ethic and practicing, getting your body and your voice and your muscles pedagogically and just bodily conditioned to singing often. And if you're singing often, you need to have someone who's watching over you, mentoring you, coaching you along the way, pedagogically or otherwise. And tending to the health, or tending to the good health and upkeep of the voice. And I would probably recommend, if not schooling, which is usually the default mechanism, because that's how it happened for me, just finding a voice teacher in the area, someone you connect with, and someone that you hope has a positive resume or a positive rapport and I don't want to say repertoire, but they have a what is the word I'm looking for?
I can't help you because I'm not sure what you want to say. But you know what? Let's hold that thought. I need to go to break. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You are tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Smart TVs and streaming services have taken over the television industry. VSC TV is proud to announce our presence on Apple TV and Roku to make watching your favorite shows even easier. You can access this service by downloading the Cablecast ScreenWeave app. Then choose Valley Shore Community TV from the list of channels. Select VSC TV Live to watch our channel in full HD. Or pick a show from our on-demand video library. VSC TV is your local Connecticut Mid-Shore Valley digital connection.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and I hope that you're enjoying the show. You know, Jermaine, you and I had talked before we went to taping the program, DMV consultant, and you said, let's keep that in the show. So I said director of music video, you said no, it's Department of Motor Vehicle. So let's put that in context here. Tell us about it.
DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. I came on as a temp agent back in 2017, and I recontracted and found a really comfy assignment that I have been lucky enough to still attach myself to, and it has maintained funds. So I'm able to work even during the pandemic. But I'm really proud of the work I've done with them. We've created a system for CDL drivers to mobily and, dare I say, even quickly upload medical documents to their own safety and their own liking, and it's not a lofty assignment. It's just it's kept the bills paid, and I'm I'm grateful to be there because my commissioner likes me, and she's getting an invite. She's getting an invite to my musical. So my commissioner and deputy, a lot of people like me, and most of the building knows I sing. So.
Speaking of the pandemic, did that affect your work as an artist during that time frame? Were you able to get any jobs? Was anything performing at all?
There was a lot of virtual performing.
How'd that do?
Yeah, a lot of digital content, and it was quite oversaturating at times. But for me, crazy enough, I was one of the lucky ones. There was a dire need for reprieve at that moment. So I took that as a sign and just slowed myself down mentally, physically, activity-wise. And the digital content that was being released or the smaller ensembles I was part of was, to me, fruitful enough to keep my voice relatively in shape. And there was actually a high demand for certain content because church went virtual when it was appropriate to be indoors. And if there was a soloistic opportunity, like Kelly said, I was kind of the guy for some places, which is an honor to be in that position. And considering I wasn't, and I'm still not in the audition circuit like a lot of my friends and colleagues are, I already had things in place and things that didn't necessarily, or opportunities that didn't necessarily require an audition. So like word of mouth, relational, I was afforded some really wonderful opportunities that way. And that's actually how Play Off Some Part happened. The music director, he is actually a colleague of mine, but also someone that I loosely studied with in college. And he brought me on, and that's how I got my first musical theater contract during the pandemic. And I'm not a picky person. I am quite low maintenance at times when it comes to like my career and such. And I am grateful for any opportunity that ever comes my way. And actually during the pandemic, I had to learn to say no.
Virtual versus in-person and live. How is that different for you? I mean, you did both, or you're doing both. Do you like either or?
Live.
Live, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That we're just gonna keep it simple and say live. A lot of reasons why, but it's always better live.
We're at the end of 2022, going into 2023, of course. How's your calendar looking like? Anything you'd like to tell us about?
Yeah, so in 2 weeks from Saturday, so the 19th, Asylum Hill Congregational Church Sanctuary Choir is having their Music for Humanity concert. And it will be featuring me as a soloist in The Ballad of Brown King by Margaret Bonds. And we're doing Renee Clausen's A New Creation. And then the week after Thanksgiving weekend is the debut of the musical Magic, a ballroom dance musical. And that'll be at Wall Street Theater in Norwalk, Connecticut at 2 p.m., 7:30 p.m., and live streamed for both performances. And it is only that day. And I think recordings will, a live stream retaping will happen at some point. And then the week after that, I am finally doing professionally the Messiah solos, Handel's Messiah, in Worcester, with Music Worcester, I think, or Worcester Sings. Oh, I should know that. But it'll be in Worcester, Massachusetts, under the tutelage of Chris Shepard, and I will be the bass soloist. And that is December 3rd at 8. And then the week after, I'm at Infinity Hall with Javier Colon, who is the first voice winner ever, but also he teaches at Hart, the University of Hartford. And I am one of his background singers. And then the week after that, which is December, so Javier's date is December 10th, December 17th, and 18th, I am back with Voce for our Christmas concert, where the Saturday performance is in Simsbury and the Sunday performance is in Hartford. And then the week after that is Christmas. And there are a lot of church services I'll be part of then with Asylum Hill, Congregational, Cathedral of St. Joseph's, which, oh, goodness, yes, I'm also in Schola Cantorum with Cathedral of St. Joseph's, and I cantor at Cathedral of St. Joseph's sometimes, Sacred Heart Parish in Bloomfield, and the University of St. Joseph's at their chapel. So cantor, choral singer, opera singer, theater singer, jazz singer. I perform at senior facility centers and with companies across the state.
I am exhausted.
Me too.
How on earth do you do all that you do in the period of time that we've just talked about? And of course, we are moving into 2023 and you'll have lots of gigs then too, I know that. But how do you juggle the schedule with so many organizations and so many churches to be able to perform these very heavy pieces that you've mentioned and be able to do them well and then switch over and do something else?
Vocal upkeep and maintenance, sleep, and I am learning to get my diet correct. But most importantly, it is rest, 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 rest. I actually I popularized the mask before it came in 2020. I showed up to DMV oftentimes with a mask, like, guys, I'm on vocal rest, I can't. And even then, I was still learning the power of turning my voice off. But even with the countless gigs that I am partaking in now, I have not really been hoarse or vocally fatigued in a while, because it's really about upkeep and maintenance and just resting. But I had always had a bug for managerial duties. I am quite organized. I am a reformed perfectionist. And I love keeping things organized and tidy, and that is how I keep my schedule. That's how I keep my life. And I even schedule downtime. Decompression and relaxation is paramount to my daily routine. And I'm glad that I'm learning this before 30. I tell my best friend all the time to be learning and honing the skills that I have now for mental health and bodily health, emotional health. I'm glad that I'm learning in this very congested, saturated society before 30, because when I do start auditioning and I start taking bigger contracts and let's just call it what it is, I get older, I'm gonna have to be just as flexible, just as readily available, just as ready as I am in my 20s. So that's really important to me.
Well, we are starting to run out of time, but I think that what you've just said is very important, that you have scheduled downtime and quiet time and resting your vocal cords to be able to perform at the level that you perform. I think that people forget that it's very important to take care of yourself outside of performing.
Yeah, it's essential, because you can't, it's not wise. I take that back. It's not smart to only view the body as a machine, but it is wise in the grand scheme of things to consider it needing the maintenance that machinery often needs to sustain itself. And that's the mentality I have now. I recognize that my body is my temple and that it comes with millions of cellular functions that need tending to. And I used to often neglect some of those functions and realize that, oh, wait, they all work in tandem and I need them all to work harmoniously together. And rest.
That's right. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure.
It's an honor. Thanks for having me.
And thank you all so much for being here. You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host. And again, if you'd like to volunteer in the program, I really need you. I would love to have you as part of the team. Please contact me at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.